Yes, yes, Sir Hairless here. Today we are back with Forestella. This is their cover of Time in a Bottle, a song that's now over 50 years old from 1972, originally by Jim Croce. Quite a well-known song, I believe, one that probably doesn't need too much of an introduction. Some lovely plucked guitar accompanying a really smooth and soothing melody, despite the lyrics that at points maybe are not so soothing. Forestella are Forestella. What do I mean by that? Well, we've seen them do some crazy arrangements to some very famous songs before, so it's not really worth me trying to guess what they might do here. Without further ado, let's get straight into it.
If I could save time in a bottle, the first thing that I like to do is to save every day till eternity passes away, just to spend them with you.
If I could make days last forever, if words could make wishes come true, I save every day like a treasure, and then again I will spend them with you.
But there never seems to be enough time to do the things you wanna.
Sorry, I had to sneeze.
Enough time to do the things you wanna do once you find them. Looked around enough to know that you're the one I wanna go through time with.
Whoa, that bass line chromatically falling just makes you want to sing along. Yeah, really nice. I love the delicateness with which they're approaching it. There's one bit I want to quickly listen to again. It's the bit just after I sneezed.
But there never seems to be enough time to do the things you.
So in the harmony part there, we of course have Kang Hyung-ho, but there are actually two oohs that we're hearing. His part, but there's also a part underneath. Really listen out for that.
But there never seems to be enough time to do the things you wanna do once you find them.
Now we only see those two singing, the camera's just on them. We don't see the other two, so I'm going to assume the other two are not singing there, which means that we are hearing an additional voice. Whether that would be there live, this is on the Phantom Singer show. I don't know, maybe they've added it in just for YouTube, or maybe it is being played live as well, but stuff like that is always interesting. All right, well, what we've heard so far, I mean, there's not too much to mention, really. It's a slightly longer performance. This video is nearly 7 minutes long, so I'm keen to listen to some more of it before diving into the music, seeing how they maybe spice this up a bit. It is worth noting the key difference between Forestella's performance and the original. The original song is in D minor. Forestella are just one note above that here. E flat minor. And overall, the arrangement is very similar to the original song. Structurally, the harmonic progression. They have a live guitarist that we saw. A little less full sounding than in the original, but really nice nonetheless, and I might even prefer it. It comes with the nuances of a live performance, such as an exaggerated ritardando, like slowing down, that we get here just before Ko Woo Rim comes in with the first vocals. And spreading out the chords a little bit. So yeah, let's carry on. By the way, I have been informed that this is one of Forestella's songs for which they have done a part swap video. They're always hilarious where they sing each other's parts. We've seen a few before, so I will be watching that after this reaction. You can find that in the pinned comment linked below if you want to watch that with me. It's on Patreon along with all the other additional Forestella content. Nice addition of the strings there as well.
If I had a box just for wishes and dreams that had never come true, the box would be empty except for the memory of how they were answered by you.
But there never seems to be enough time to do the things you wanna do. Once you find them, look around enough to know that you're the one I wanna go through time with.
I tell you what, I was wondering about the length of this video. Nearly 7 minutes, and the original song is 2.5 minutes, so this is, what, almost 3 times the length. I mentioned in the introduction that we can never really know what to expect with Forestella. We've seen them do some crazy things before. It seems like we're now going into quite a rocky bit, all the red lighting, the flame effects or whatever. So I think it's fair to say that I have absolutely no clue what is happening right now, what's going to happen, and maybe no one should have expected this to happen. I, for one, have never heard a rock type sound of Time in a Bottle. I could be completely wrong, but that's what it looks like is happening. So I'm very keen to continue. Let's just go over a few points in the music first, some things that I found really interesting. I love the set, by the way, such a contrast to the redness that it looks like is coming. Time, all to do with the cogs, the turning of time. It looks to be quite nature themed as well. I love what they did in this bit. Firstly, I'll show you the original at the same moment.
If I had a box just for wishes.
You can hear that really high line at the top. It's essentially just doubling the falling bass line, but way up there. What do Forestella do at this moment?
If I had a box just for wishes.
We get these accompanying huzz, huh. They seem a bit more punchy. That line I just pointed out really high up, it is in there, but it keeps returning to the original note.
I had a box just for wishes.
So it's falling, but then returning as the harmony is progressing, is moving, which naturally creates these dissonances, more so than we would otherwise hear, such as in the original, where it's, like I say, moving along with the bass line. And as we know, dissonance is great at increasing the tension in the music, causing suspense. I also think these huzz that we get really add to this element of suspense as well. Like I say, a tiny bit more punchy. I mentioned earlier we have the addition of strings now, orchestral sounding. They do quite a few interesting or quirky things. One of them is here. Lovely chromatic fall. Another one here.
But they never see.
That run up, quite different to the chromatic fall that we just had. These additions of these orchestral instruments just create more of a magical sound. We get some flutes shortly afterwards. And other instruments, I won't name every one, but again, back to the strings. Listen to them now.
The box would be empty except.
Small parts, but they just add so much energy to the performance, and somehow Forestella are maintaining this really smooth, flowy nature of the original song. Of course, their harmonies are a huge proponent of that, choosing when it will just be 2 of them singing, or 3, or 1, and then of course when all 4 of them come in for the first time.
But there never seems to be enough time to do the things you wanna do. Once you
2 lines in harmony, singing the words, and then the other 2 just providing additional ooze to make it really mystical. I mentioned a flute earlier. I can't remember if I showed a clip of it. I don't think I did. Just before we kind of transition away from this major section back to, well, you'll hear now, but listen out for the flute. It comes in, and because of its tuning, it actually causes quite a harsh dissonance, not as usual as normal, but on a more kind of micro level. And then you can hear the rich vibrato, that windy sound coming through as Forestella will come off. Okay, let's carry on from the rocky bit. If you enjoy these videos, please consider supporting me. You can buy me a coffee or hot chocolate, join our Patreon for loads of additional content that's not available on YouTube, or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. All options are linked below, and a special thanks to everyone on the screen. Back to the video.
Had a box just for wishes and dreams that had never come true. The box should be empty except for the memory how that were answered by you.
If I could see time in a bottle, the first thing that I like to do is to save every day till eternity passes away. Just spend them with you.
Never seems to be enough time to the things you wanna do once you find them. Find them.
Look around enough to know that you're the one who wanna go through time with. Time with. Never seems to be enough.
Ah, that's really cool. That's really, really cool. Me being the music nerd I think the coolest thing about it is how they have changed the harmony. Obviously, we have everything else, which I will come onto in a second, but I feel it's my duty to try and explain why changing the harmony can create a transformative feel like it's done here. I always say harmony is the most important thing when it comes to music. You change the harmony, the whole mood is changed, and that's exactly what we're seeing or hearing right now. So let's just listen to this line again. I'll play it the first time we heard it earlier on.
Looked around enough to know that you're the one I wanna go through time with.
I'll start off by highlighting the importance of the bass line, which is an absolute staple of this song at any point in this song. So the key of this performance is E flat minor. Minor is more sad sounding than major. At this moment, it feels a bit more happy, uplifting, and that's because we're doing the major scale down in the bass line. So this major section is really underpinned by a falling major scale down. Like I say, it makes the whole section more uplifting, everything seems a bit more soft and gentle. Now though, let's listen to the bass line, which Kowu Rim is doubling up so we can hear it even more clearly.
Look around enough to know that you're the one who wanna go through time with.
Excuse my faces there. He's not doing the major scale down. He's doing chromatic falling, note by note. I love chromaticism. If you've seen my videos before, you will know that. Chromaticism is just a powerful tool. It makes harmony around it a little bit more tricky though, because you know, you can't jump around to fit in chords. No, you just have to go like that. And this is why the melody Forestella is singing is slightly changed. It's not exactly the same as usual, but this is not all. Earlier, I mentioned the chromatic falling bass line. That bass line chromatically falling just makes you want to sing along. So essentially, what Forestella have done in this new rocky section here to completely transform the feel, they have completely foregone the major, happier sounding scale down. And instead, they've opted to just go straight in with the chromatic, more tense falling scale. In other words, they're removing the main thing that gives that song, that one happier sounding section, a relief from the minorness, the sadness of the rest of the song. And instead, they've doubled down on the chromatic bits, the tense bits, transforming the mood. Then when you consider everything else we've got going on, They're singing higher in their ranges. There's more grit in the sound. The singing is less pretty. We have a heavier beat now. The visuals, the change in aesthetic, the movement, they're moving around more. All of these things combined completely transform the song, but ultimately it's the harmony that has forced these changes, such as with the melody and everything else. Do we now have to interpret the lyrics differently because the music accompanying them is different to before? Music enhances the lyrics, so if the music is drastically changed, does this mean the effect on the lyrics will be different? I don't know. I don't have all the answers. This is my question to you. So yeah, we're seeing some very cool things now. I love how they have changed the harmony, taking the chromatic idea that we see elsewhere in the song and just getting rid of the happier major sounding part. Really, really powerful effect on the song. Let's carry on. I'm curious to see what they do next.
Never seems to be right to the things you want. Right there, right there.
Look around enough to know that you don't wanna go through time
이게 말이 돼 지금? 말이 되는 거야?
Back into the major now.
Never seems to be no time to do the things you wanna do once you find them.
So there's that major scale down now. We can really hear how it's transformed compared to... I'll go back a few seconds and just listen out for that.
Never seems to be no time to do the things you wanna do once you find them.
Looked around enough to know that you don't wanna go through time. I've looked around enough to know the only one I wanna go through time.
But there never seems to be no time.
Sorry, my video froze there for a couple of seconds. I'm not sure if that will come out in the recording or not. But yeah, it's super interesting how they're just combining all the ideas. Now they've gone back to the major, uplifting, more happier sounding bit, but with a lot of the more modern elements that they had from the rocky section that they were using for a more tense sound. So we started off with the calmer bit, then the tense bit, and now they're taking elements from both, shoving them together, and we get this really cool hybrid type of sound. Changing the rhythms up as well. They've turned the melody into this kind of swing melody, very bouncy.
I've looked around enough to know the only one I wanna go.
And I've not yet had my, what's sort of becoming an obligatory Kang Hyun-ho appreciation moment. Whoa, too right indeed. But having this in the same performance... and...
Look around enough to know that you're the one.
These different sounds should not be coming out of the same person. It is mental. He's such an asset to the sound. They all are, but Kang Hyun-ho, I don't know, it's just something else. Having that male soprano element with such a pure sound that he can just unlock. I will never get bored of it. I will never get bored of it.
Go around enough to know that you don't wanna go through time.
Kang Hyun-ho up there, choming you with that leggero tenor sound just coming through on the, to give these syncopations, everything else. Lovely bit of polyphony. Counterpoint may be a better way of thinking about it. Really cool. Let's carry on and finish off this performance.
There never seems to be no time to do the things you wanna do once you find them. Look around enough to know that you're the one I wanna go through time with.
Never seems enough time to the things you wanna do.
Once you find them.
Find them. Oh, look around enough to know that you're the one
Oh, wow. Abrupt ending, but very cool ending. I was wondering about the ending from the start because the original ends with this really juicy second note in there, the supertonic, and then when you fill in the rest of the chord, you know, it's a really luscious, clashy chord. Forestella's arrangement, instead opt for an unresolved chord. It's just not as dissonance, but it is not resolved. And then, of course, we have the rather poignant literal ticking of time. Yeah, really cool performance. They somehow managed to almost triple the length of the song, yet there was no single moment in that which was boring or felt repetitive. If you're going to be repeating a song essentially 2 or 3 times, there will always be a danger of it being repetitive. But the way that they took some elements from before and then, you know, combined them with other elements later on, it was just so cool. Also, having 3 of your 4 singers singing up here, you know, that's kind of above what a choral tenor would be expected to sing, which is around here. That's here. 2 notes below, which is what I call the wow operatic tenor moment. And we've heard that sung in this performance by 3 of the 4 singers, which is, it's insane. So between the 4 of them, the ranges that they can get to are essentially unlimited, which means that the arrangements are in a way unlimited. The options are unlimited. The opportunities are endless. I'm very, well, excited to see what other songs they take on in the future because, yeah, they can really do anything. Really cool to see, and I'm happy I chose this one because I've not listened to Time in a Bottle for ages. I listened to it quite a few times on repeat in preparation for this, and yeah, I forgot how nice a song it is. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought of this performance compared to the other Forestella performances, which ones you want to see me do in the future. And if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. If you don't want to write a comment, then let's go for an emoji. Today's emoji will be like you see on the screen here, something time related. And speaking of time, I will see you next time.